Do you want to know about how to have a menopause conversation at work without sounding weak? Do you want to walk into that meeting feeling in control and knowing what you want at the end of it? Well, you're in the right place, because today's video is just about that. It's about that meeting itself. Now, this is the fourth video in the series. The first one was about what your symptoms are. The second one was about what support you need in order to continue with your career or your job. The third one was about preparing for this meeting, and this one is about the meeting itself. So, my name's Kate Usher. I'm a menopause coach and change strategist, and I work with women to empower them and enable them to have modern menopause conversations. I also work with managers to help them create immediately implementable strategies for female and menopause friendly workplaces. And this book behind me, Your Second Phase, I wrote that too, and it's available from all book outlets. So let's get started. Today, we're going to be talking about that meeting. Now, if you're unsure about any of the steps before, then please go back and look at all the old videos. They're in the series, so just follow them and you'll get all the information you need to get to this point. So now we're talking about the meeting. Now, when you think about this meeting, you have the opportunity to take control of it, which means you can define when and where this meeting is held. Now, at the moment, for many of us, it's going to be remote. So it's going to be over a video call like this, or it's going to be, if you're in one of those service industries where you're still going into work, and some people are still going into work anyway, then you get to define where you're going to meet someone. So if it's going to be in a meeting room, make sure it's private, so it's not completely surrounded by glass. Next, if it does have an outside glass wall, make sure it is cool, because some meeting rooms have a lot of solar gain. So if it's a nice sunny day, it's very, very hot in there. You don't want to put yourself under that sort of physiological pressure. And if you've got anything like hot flushes, then absolutely not. Make sure you choose a cool room that suits you at a time of day that's best. Now, the time of day is important because for some symptoms like insomnia or night sweats, you may be at best in your morning or in the afternoon. So make sure that you fit in with your own needs. You've got the opportunity to define this, but absolutely take control of this situation. Next, it's about framing this meeting. So when you walk in, you get to define the opening narrative around this meeting. So it's about saying, I'm here because of my menopause. I'm here because my career is really important to me. I would like to see my ambitions achieved, and I can see that I'm on the right path, but this is a distraction, which quite frankly, I didn't ask for, but I do need some support in order to make my way through this, because my symptoms are having an impact on me. But at the other end, I absolutely still wish to become the CEO, the exec, the senior manager, the supervisor, whatever it might be, whatever your aspirations for this, absolutely state it, because you're laying your cards on the table. You're saying you're still a professional, you're saying that you're still capable, and you're saying that you still have a lot to give to the organization. Once you've done that, start by saying what the key symptoms are that are impacting you at work, and the support that you need in order to actually keep going with the aspirations that you've just defined. So I do strongly recommend that you do not comment on some of the more personal symptoms. However, if you are suffering from night sweats or insomnia or hot flushes, or some of the other symptoms, so depression, anxiety, what's commonly known as brain fog, although it just feels like you've forgotten everything. That's the time to say, I'm having some symptoms, I can discuss them with you, but this is the thing that I need in order to help me support them. And if they want to talk about it, great. If they don't, and you've covered it without any of the details, because that's what a lot of managers are afraid of having to discuss. So you don't need to get into the details, but you do need to allude to what the issue is. So you've framed it. You've said exactly why you're here. So your menopause, you've got some symptoms which are troubling you. Also, that your career is very important to you and you still have very strong aspirations that you intend to achieve, and that you're valuable to the organisation because of that. So you've defined the framework for this conversation. You will need to be the adult in the room. For all the reasons that I've just said, lots of people don't want to discuss this subject. It's uncomfortable and difficult. And quite frankly, you know that because you've done all this preparation. And because of that, they may be the one that feels uncomfortable, shifting, maybe making some giggly kind of noises or looking a bit unhappy about the situation. But if you are the adult in the room, if you are speaking at an adult level and you don't allow yourself to either drop into the child position or into a parent, so you're nurturing the person opposite you, then the person opposite you has no choice but to speak to you as an adult. So an adult to adult conversation is where you want this to be, because at the end of this is going to be a negotiation. At the end of this, you want to walk out of this space feeling as though you have the support that you need to achieve your aspirations. And on the other end, they walk out of this room feeling that they've supported you and that they still have a valuable member of the team. So you're going to have to take this through as an adult to adult conversation, and it may mean that you have to hold your position for the first part of the conversation until they settle down and meet you halfway. Lastly, as I say, this is a negotiation and you are defining so much about how your career is going to proceed over the next few years. Because your menopause goes on for a very, very long time, you need to agree that you will meet sporadically in order to reassess how things are going, how you feel about the situation, and if you need some additional help, or maybe you can scale back on certain levels of support. So it's about saying, let's meet every quarter or let's meet every 6 months and reconvene and have a conversation about this. And just make sure that because you're having that very business-like assessment and discussion around this, that you keep it that way. This is not an opportunity for emotion. This is a business conversation. Lastly, because of that, and because of the nature of this, it is very, very important that you make notes. As soon as you leave the room or while you're in the room, make sure you make a clear statement of what has been said and agreed inside the meeting, and give your manager a copy of that as well afterwards. Because you don't know whether you're going to need those notes later down the line. Don't put yourself through it where you try and remember what was said and then it is a case of your word against theirs. That's not going to help anybody. So make sure you catalogue exactly what's been said and you send them a copy. Okay, so today's video was all about making sure that in the meeting, you take it as a business conversation. You set the time and location to suit you. You frame it and say why you're here and why this is important to you. You are the adult in the room, and then the person opposite you has no choice but to speak to you as an adult. And lastly, make notes. These are business practices you know inside out. So use them for your own advantage. By all means, look at all the videos, please subscribe, and I will see you soon.